Australia's capital isn't just home to politics and monuments. It hides ghosts, secrets, and chilling tales buried beneath its quiet streets. From haunted homesteads to cursed archives, these are the top 10 haunted places in the Australian Capital Territory. And some of them are hiding in plain sight. 1. Duntroon House, Canberra. They say if you walk the silent halls of Duntroon House, the oldest building in Canberra, you might still hear her, the soft, sorrowful footsteps of Sophia Campbell, echoing through time. Built in 1833, this grand colonial mansion stands proudly within the Royal Military College, but its polished floors and pristine gardens mask a lingering sadness. Sophia, the wife of Robert Campbell Jr., died tragically in the house. Some say it was illness. Others whisper that her heart simply broke, from isolation, from secrets long buried. Cadets over the decades have spoken in hushed tones of strange happenings, furniture shifting in locked rooms, cold gusts sweeping through sealed windows, and a woman's voice singing a lullaby in the dead of night. One guard, stationed near the drawing room, swore he saw a flickering figure in a white dress, gazing out the window toward the Molonglo River, before vanishing into thin air. Duntroon may train warriors by day, but by night, the past reawakens, and Sophia walks still, waiting. For what? No one dares to guess. 2. The National Film and Sound Archive, Canberra, once a place where bodies were dissected and secrets of the dead laid bare. The National Film and Sound Archive hides a chilling past beneath its cultured facade. Long before it stored Australia's cinematic treasures, this building was the Institute of Anatomy, complete with a morgue, autopsy rooms, and even preserved human remains. Some say the spirits never left. Visitors have reported the unexplainable: cold patches in warm hallways, film reels unspooling by themselves, and whispers coming from empty editing rooms. One staff member, locking up late, claimed she heard a child laughing, echoing down the archive corridor, though no children were ever inside. Security footage later showed lights flickering and doors slamming shut with no one near. But the most disturbing? In the old autopsy wing, now a theater, audiences have seen a shadowy figure sitting alone in the back row, vanishing when approached. They say the dead speak here, not in screams, but in silence, reels, and static. 3. Old Parliament House, Canberra. Beneath the grand speeches and political debates, the old Parliament House holds secrets far darker than policy. Built in 1927, it once stood as the heart of Australia's government. But after decades of power, tension, and betrayal, it seems not all voices have gone silent. Staff have reported phantom footsteps echoing through the deserted corridors, typewriters clacking late at night, and the unmistakable scent of pipe smoke wafting from empty offices. One night, a cleaner saw a man in an old-fashioned suit standing by the press gallery. She looked away for just a second, and he was gone, leaving behind only the smell of ink and tobacco. Some believe it's the spirit of a long-dead prime minister, still watching over his legacy. Others speak of a secretary who died suddenly at her desk, her presence felt in sudden chills and flickering lights. The building may be a museum now, but after dark, the echoes of power still whisper, and some ghosts refuse to be voted out. 4. Gungahlin Homestead, Crace. On the edge of modern suburbia, hidden behind weathered gates and wild grass, stands the Gungahlin Homestead, a 19th century relic that refuses to forget. Built in the 1860s, its history is stitched with whispers of love, loss, and lingering sorrow. Locals speak of a woman in black, seen wandering the halls with her head bowed, vanishing through walls before dawn. Many believe she's Isabella McCaney, the original lady of the house, who lost her child during childbirth. They say grief bound her spirit here, In 2017, a group of paranormal investigators recorded a chilling EVP, a woman's voice weeping, followed by the faint words, "He never cried." Visitors have reported hearing music from the old piano, though the instrument hasn't worked in decades. Even now, lights flicker without power, footsteps echo in empty rooms, and guests describe a crushing sadness in the master bedroom, like someone watching, waiting. Gungahlin Homestead may look abandoned, but something inside still stirs. Five, Inglis Art Center, Braddon. By day, the Inglis Art Center hums with music and creativity. But by night, the melody shifts into something far more sinister. Once a public school built in the 1920s, this heritage building carries echoes not just of childhood laughter, but of something darker, something left behind. Artists rehearsing late have reported sudden drops in temperature, doors slamming with no wind, and the sound of barefoot footsteps running through the halls. One violinist swore she saw a little girl in an old-school uniform staring from the hallway mirror, only to turn around and find the space completely empty. The piano room is especially notorious. Teachers claim to hear a single key strike in the middle of the night, even when the lid is locked. And once, during a recording session, static overtook the audio, followed by a faint child's voice saying, "Don't forget me." In this place of art and beauty, a lonely spirit still lingers, waiting to be seen, or perhaps heard. 6. Deacon Telephone Exchange. Deacon, tucked between government offices and quiet streets, the Deacon Telephone Exchange looks plain, harmless even. But inside its aging walls, the air is thick with unease. In the 1960s, a fire broke out in the lower maintenance level, trapping a young technician beneath the floor. His name was never released. His body was never found. Ever since, workers have whispered of tools vanishing, loud clangs in empty service tunnels, and elevators moving between floors on their own. One engineer claimed he heard breathing behind him, slow, raspy, close. When he turned, no one was there, just the faint scent of burnt wires and something metallic, like blood. During a 2012 renovation, contractors reported strange interference, walkie-talkies picking up static voices, repeating, "Help me! Still here!" The area was sealed off shortly after. Now, few dare to enter after dark. The calls may have stopped, but in Deacon, someone's still trying to connect. 7. St. John's Anglican Church. Reed standing since 1845, St. John's Anglican Church is Canberra's oldest surviving building, and perhaps its most haunted. Its stone walls have witnessed countless weddings, funerals, and whispered prayers. But not all who enter find peace. Late-night passers-by report bells ringing without a hand to pull the rope, and shadows drifting between the gravestones, too tall, too fast, and too quiet. One parishioner claimed to see a man in a long coat kneeling in an empty pew, only for him to vanish when she approached, leaving a chill in the air and the scent of damp earth. Caretakers have spoken of a ghostly woman in mourning, wandering the cemetery at dawn, clutching a faded locket. No one knows her name, but in 1993, a burial record was found, an unnamed mother buried with a stillborn child, unmarked, near the rear wall. The church remains open to worship, but when the candles dim and the congregation leaves, St. John's keeps its secrets and its spirits. 8. Mount Stromlo Observatory, Weston Creek. Perched high above Canberra, Mount Stromlo Observatory once scanned the stars for answers. But after the devastating 2003 bushfires, which reduced the site to twisted steel and ash, something else took its place. Something far more earthbound and restless. Visitors today speak of a strange stillness, a silence that feels heavy. Some hear crackling flames when the wind is still. Others report seeing figures moving between the ruins, their outlines flickering like smoke, gone when you blink. One night in 2015, an amateur astronomer setting up his telescope swore he saw a charred figure standing near the old dome, staring at the sky. When he approached, there was nothing. Only scorched ground and the scent of burning eucalyptus, though no fire had touched the area in years. Thermal cameras used by ghost hunters have captured heat signatures inside the burned-out buildings, where no life should remain. They say the stars don't shine quite the same at Stromlo anymore, because something is watching from below. Nine. Tugarong Homestead, Richardson. Once a thriving sheep station in the 1800s, the Tugarong Homestead now sits in quiet dignity, its red brick walls hiding stories long since buried. But ask the locals, and they'll tell you, the past never truly left. Guests report phantom footsteps across wooden floors, cold gusts rushing through sealed windows, and the unmistakable sound of a rocking chair creaking late at night. One visitor, exploring alone, described the smell of smoke and burnt timber, though no fire had ever touched the site. But the most chilling tale: a woman in 19th century attire, bonnet, gloves, and sorrow in her eyes, seen standing by the front fence, gazing into the distance. When approached, she vanishes into thin air, leaving only disturbed grass where she stood. In 2009, a paranormal group captured a low voice on audio saying, "He never came home," believed to be the grieving wife of a farmhand who vanished in a storm. At Tugarong, the land is peaceful, but the silence? It's not empty. It's listening. Ten. Blundles Cottage, Parks, nestled beside Lake Burley Griffin. Blundles Cottage appears quaint, charming even, but step inside and the warmth fades. Built in 1860, this tiny stone home once housed laborers and their families. Yet not all who lived here found peace, and not all have left. Visitors report whispers in the children's bedroom, floorboards creaking under invisible weight, and the eerie sensation of being watched. One guide claimed that during a school tour, a child pointed to the corner and asked, "Who's the lady in the gray dress?" though no one was there. The most persistent spirit is believed to be Mrs. Flora Blundell, the last long-term resident. She lost several children to illness within those very walls. Some say her grief lingered, echoing through the cottage in the form of soft humming and the sound of a baby crying late at night. In 2016, motion sensors in the sealed-off attic triggered repeatedly, though the space was empty. Blundell's may be a museum by day, but by night, it becomes a memory too strong to die. So the next time you walk through Canberra after dark, look twice and listen carefully. The past may be closer than you think. Which haunted place would you dare to visit first? Let us know if you're brave enough.